Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to Small Talk. This is the Smallville podcast here on the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As we are recording this, we have been graced with the presence of a new pope, specifically the first ever American pope. I say a prayer for Pope Leo, and I sincerely hope that he does a great job in the role. I would like to beseech the new pope to pray for my forgiveness for every bad thing that I have ever said about Smallville Season 8, because these 3 episodes are all horrible, and it makes Season 10 my bottom tier season. I hate this season so much, and these 3 episodes are chief examples of why. They were out of ideas, just horrible stuff.
Very bad.
It's bad.
Wow.
It's bad. Ooh, is it bad?
I mean, I don't know.
Really, really bad.
I don't understand.
So, Collins, how are you?
I actually, one thing is the Pope thing kind of threw me off. I was like, the Pope thing, I'm like, well, I don't know how to come through to that one. Usually I would say the crazy shit on this show, but instead Ryan just like pushes me aside and goes, you know what? Forgive me, Pope, but fuck these episodes.
He's like, hold my beer.
I was like, okay, yeah, all right. No, I disagree. I think 2 of the episodes are decent, while 1 of the episodes is just what the hell are we doing here? Like, there are problems in the first episode, but the side stuff is great. Then there are problems in the other episode. Like, I don't give a shit about Connor Kent, but I like the Lionel stuff. The scenes I will say the last episode is not great, but I will say every scene that John Glover is in is great.
Matt Wyatt, Lucas Graybeard, the poor soul, had to survive a horrendous dye job and be the sort of kind of brother / son / I don't know what the hell is going on with the lineage of these characters. Somebody save me.
It's like he went from Lucas Graybeard went from High School Musical to wearing pink outfits and being like, I don't dance, I know you can, to being like, I'm Connor Kent now, I gotta dye my hair black. What are you talking about? Went from orange to black.
It is so very bad. But anyway, Matt White, anything to add, or shall we dive in?
I don't hate it as much as you did, Ryan. And the new Pope is Scotty from Eurotrip. He is the new Pope. Congrats to him.
He's been sending that shit all week long. He has been sending us, for context for the viewers, he has been sending me and him that shit all week long. Just literally, I'm every day I'm looking seeing Matt that goes, they have elected the new Pope, and it's Scotty from Eurotrip. And I'm like, Matt.
No, he's the new Pope. It's real. It's all real.
I literally was thinking about that in my head because I'm like, Matt's going to send it in an hour. I guarantee you. Second day late, I'm like, Matt's going to send it. Sure enough, he sent it because I'm like.
All I'm saying is that this guy does not look like Jude Law at all. I thought this was supposed to be the young / new Pope. Someone out there is going to
put somebody in their 40s as the Pope. You know that, right? Because they want somebody that dick doesn't work. They don't want somebody that actually can. Say, you know what? I don't want to be Pope afterwards. I want to be someone, they want somebody that's like a senior citizen. They want somebody when they go to the theater, they get a senior citizen discount. They don't want somebody that literally will be like, yeah, this Pope's sitting there like, what up, bro? This is my nun. You see her? They don't want that. They don't want a Jude Law. No, they're not going to put that. That's what it's like. That's what my dad was, because he's Catholic, and he's like, he goes, they feel like when you're older that you're more wise. When you're younger, they feel like you're adolescent. So, for instance, 40 years old is adolescent. They want somebody that's 60 or 70 years old. Some people even say 60 is pretty young. To them, that is the youngest they'll go.
Which that's how old Tom Cruise is right now. Look at him.
This has been another installment in Bible College with Jacob Collins. Oh.
Listen, my child.
Let's begin. This is season 10, episode 14, called
Who they were dealing with.
New York City, a case of mistaken identity turns a bored married couple's attempt at a glamorous and... Wait a minute. I'm reading the wrong synopsis. Crap. Hang on. Here it is.
She screamed for you if she died.
It looks like a serial killer.
Decide.
I think it's only fair if I get to know you.
Clark Kent is the mask. I'll be hiding in plain sight.
Smallville. All new episode next Friday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Chloe and Oliver are mistaken for FBI agents investigating Desaad's recent string of murders, and the pair are kidnapped by Desaad's minions. Convenient. Desaad tries to infect Chloe with the darkness.
What do you mean by that?
Meanwhile, Lois tells Clark he needs to be more careful with his identity and suggests a disguise. How about a pair of glasses? Mustaches are really in right now. But like Collins pointed out, this is like that Steve Carell movie Date Night. Like it's like stealing people's booking ideas, guys. Like, come on.
And dude, I don't understand why they had to do the whole disguise with Oliver. Like, we know his name is exonerated, and now they had to play the whole date night plot in this episode. I mean, I will say that I didn't hate it as much as you did. I kind of was still, it was more tolerable because the Desaad storyline was more compelling than the whole date night episode. But and there's another storyline with Clark dealing with his new identity crisis thing. People are starting to notice him around the world, even around the Daily Planet, and even the cops are showing him a little bit of respect because they're starting to recognize him because he's getting caught on camera in the shadow in public.
He was in the UK getting caught. You know, they're like, "Oh no!"
It went viral.
They're like, "Oh, oi, there's the Pope right here." I mean, not the Pope. I'm sorry. They're like, "Oi, there's the blood." Sorry, now I still got the Pope stuck in my head now. Oi, there's the Pope.
I've broken the episode.
I didn't even say continent either, right? That's where the Pope is. But yeah, no. So, I need to refresh. Okay, reboot. Like no, they're like, "Oi, there's a blur right there."
That's the blur.
It's the blur.
It's literally the same exact shot that where Oliver in season 7 and Chloe were on the Daily Planet. It's the same shot without the planet in the background. Like, they're just literally recycling shots. The only difference is it's like literally the one when he was standing on top of Big Ben looked real. Like, that looked like really good shot of Clark standing on Big Ben. But then when it's him sitting there, I'm like, you already had a good shot. Do you really need the other shot of him standing on top of a building that looks exactly like we've seen this building 1,000 times in Smallville?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not the first time that CW has recycled the same shots all the time. They do that all the time. It's saving their money on the budget.
Oh yeah.
The
Ryan,
Narrows from Batman Begins would like to have a word with you.
And the whole the beginning of Clark Kent disguise, don't you think that's a little too late since he already exposed himself on the Daily Planet for several years of being there without the glasses? And so the funny thing is, the moment he puts on that glasses and acts all bumbling, all of a sudden, even that nerdy dude, his employee at the basement, fucking Jeff, what's his face, and just suddenly flips the script. I was like, dude, you act like the tough guy all these years. I've known you for a long time, and suddenly you choose to be the bubbling nerdy dude. It's like that. It just sounded a little bit too far-fetched at this point.
I really did thought what made me laugh. The one thing that made me laugh was Oliver and Chloe are having like their role play night where like Oliver's dressed like I told Ryan, I was like, he looks like Ryan says he looks like Justin Timberlake. I'm like, he looked like Britney Spears' backup dancer, really, wearing a hat with shades. I'm like, what's he trying to be, like K-Fed?
But did you notice that when Justin Hartley was wearing the dyed his hair dark hair, and then he has the contact lens, that's the same look that he did in the alternate reality of Oliver Queen. If you haven't noticed it.
What did you think of like basically what did you guys think of Clark's when he's wearing when he's dressed like Lois is like, you need a disguise. So she puts a hoodie and shades over him, and I'm just like, it's just basically the Green Arrow. I'm like, this is literally like,
no, you just basically look like the Impulse of the Flash of Bart Allen's disguise. He had the red hood and the red shades.
It's literally like basically every other hero on the show. Leather jacket with a hoodie and black shades. I'm like, that's literally Smallville's version of a superhero. I got a leather.
I think the whole point of that episode was just that everybody wears a mask until they reveal their true self, and that was kind of what the whole point of that episode of with Clark and Oliver playing pretend, blah blah blah, that kind of thing.
Now, I will say I did enjoy Desaad in this episode. That he's basically a serial killer, killing people. And the reason he does kill people is because these are the people that he tries to put the Omega. Because in the comics,
because he's trying to convert the Omega symbols, and he kills the victims who don't convert them.
And he's trying to put the Omega beam like you're pure part. I can't kill you, so he just murders them because
no, he can't. He can't convert them into darkness when they have pure heart, and he murders them one by one.
And there's something I told Ryan that caught me, where because he has powers too, like he has because he didn't have any powers until like Darkseid came back because he is an alien as well. Him and Granny Goodness are not from this planet, and he basically has telekinesis. So whenever Clark, and you could tell wherever his telekinesis were, where Clark looks at the body because he has his back turned, but then when Clark looks and sees the 3 dots, then all of a sudden he turns around like, oh, you must have found something. I'm like, that was a good catch. I love that idea. Like it's a wink to the eye. It's like, see, like, because he said Clark, he's like literally spotted that and must have said it in his head, like, 3 dots.
We see his microvision, his own little microvision ability he developed.
And then just caught that, like he found something, and then turns his head. And like, oh, you must have found something. And, that to me, I thought was so good. I like, that is so, like, the fact is that you can't outsmart him. Like, Desaad, you can't outsmart because he was like, because he could have literally, if he whispered, like, Darkseid would have been like, wait, you said you know something. Like, and I honestly, I don't know. I think Desaad knows he's not human because he, like, he does.
Oh, I know. He already knows. He knows that's Kal-El.
Like the cat and mouse of it all, which he doesn't know. He's not human.
Like he's just putting on a disguise as a doctor, as a surgeon, and the moment he already knows what Clark looks like. He knows that's Kal-El. He knows because Darkseid they communicate. They know, and in Granny Goodness they cross paths.
And he's like, he's just like, and I like when he goes, "Had you go in there for a second?" And I like he's trying to be charming
when he's trying to have that little ink, like a pen ink that he just popped open, got a stain on his hand.
Yeah, like which and I'm sure that he's probably like, I hate you, or he hates him.
It's like, I hate you so much.
Which I also like. One thing I do like is Desaad, being the serial killer, and then I like also him trying to mind manipulate Chloe because he's trying to get Chloe to embrace the darkness. And he's like, first Clark, and then when she goes, no, I'm not going to kiss you, Clark. And then he just swishes back and then brings in Oliver.
Because she's literally like facing the 7 deadly sins trial to convert her to the darkness.
Because he's inside her head right now.
Yeah, he's inside her mind. Yeah, trying to convert her and her wants and wishes, which is 7 deadly sins that you face the trials.
He nearly gets her too when Oliver, but then she stops, and then he shows her like he tries to gaslight her, and he's like,
of course.
Yeah, but then Clark shows up, and that's
if Clark is acting all weird and flirty when that's out of character, you know that there's something wrong. There's something off.
Yeah, and then when Clark shows up, he just basically like, I can't convert you, Clark, but guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna he says I'm gonna use my parademons, and they're gonna attack you, and then he basically attacks with parademons, and then Oliver. I love when Oliver beats him up, and he goes, "Where's Chloe?" And he goes, and he's just like feeling that darkness in Oliver
because he's given into the wrath. And that's what Oliver did. He was given into wrath, which that means that he converted him. The moment that he beat the crap out of Desaad, he gave into the wrath. That's part of the trial of one of the 7 deadly sins.
I love
and then we saw the end of the episode. We saw that like a black light on his forehead. He's been marked with the Omega symbol. A little bit of a plot twist by the end.
Which I like that the parademons then like literally when they were attacking Clark. But then when they felt Oliver's presence, they just didn't let go of Clark, and then they went straight to Oliver. I was like, that was a good twist. That was really good. I enjoyed that. And I also like that he can put the Omega beam, and he can mind manipulate you, put the Omega beam. And I thought that was really cool. That's a cool idea. Even though like you sent him to prison, which I'm like,
they sent him to Belle Reve.
Which I'm like,
you put him in an insane asylum. Like
he's not a human being. He could just escape. He's gonna escape.
Yeah, he could break out. Like that was kind of redundant. Not a human. I mean, don't you think that'd be fucking redundant? That you sent him to Belle Reve, an alien who can actually easily break out?
Well, what's the guard's gonna be in a fetal position going, oh, look at me.
I mean, the only believable you can do is that the moment that they come cross paths when Clark catches up with Oliver, telling him that Chloe's alive, and he escapes. That would have been much more believable. Oh yeah, let's send him to Belle Reve. When that makes no fucking sense. What?
No, you should be sending him
what's
to
the
the
worst
Phantom
that can
Zone.
He's not a meteor. He's not like one of those fucking meteor infected
He's
that you can
not
that you can like handcuff them into a Belle Reve.
He is an alien like Zod and like Doomsday. He is an alien from another planet that
Yeah,
will kill.
he's an alien who is a Darkseid's disciple.
If there was a season 11, he'd be hanging out with our boy Van, KKV.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's it. Yeah, the racist,
God.
basically blood sport. The fake non-union blood sport guy. Which, to be fair, Van's dead though. Remember the Jonathan Taylor Thomas killed him. Remember?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, with the weightlifting equipment.
Yeah, because they said Ku Klux Van, where'd you go? And then all of a sudden, Van's like, I hate you all. And then they're like, don't worry, we hate you too. And then they crushed his skull. Which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I still today, I guarantee you today and today's people, I guarantee you, if that character was made today, there's going to be half the audiences will be like, you know what, Van was doing something right. Like Van was a good guy, and then the other half's gonna be like, Van's a monster. Then you got other half will be like, you know what, I can understand what Van was doing. Yeah, he's not that bad of a guy.
I won't name names, but this person sells coffee on the side, but he would make at least a dozen videos about that, being like, that Van guy was misunderstood.
Yeah. Be like, Van wasn't that bad of a guy. He was just trying to save this country, okay? From meteor freaks. And I'm just thinking like, what the fuck? I'm like, this dude literally is like just murdering people for his own fucking thing because he's like a psychopath. Which, I mean, to be fair, there is a guy in season 5 that goes even more extreme with a nuclear blast.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Van, which I'm sure Van, if he had a nuclear action, he would probably do the same.
He would not get away with it. I don't care if your father was in the military for the missile silos. Your ass wouldn't even make it that far, Bill, to pull off that shit to launch a nuclear weapon. I know that was picking back from season 5 from like Hitting episode, but that was a little bit of a far reach.
Also, they have kill switches in them, even if they're old. They have kill switches.
Yeah, they have kill switches.
And also a nuclear blast.
Here's the thing: if that were to be launched, they would have had a kill, like you said, they would have had a kill switch and deactivate the bomb.
Like, oh my god! Don't worry, I got this. All right, we're good.
Are you sure it wouldn't be like in Superman the movie, where like function negative, sir?
Or like Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, where he goes Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Accomplished.
And it just kind of closes up and it goes and hits the side. I was rewatching that the other day, and I was like, I don't believe this would be. I'm sure they'd have to type in a code. I'm sure it's not just being like you hit a red button and then that's it. But I still a great movie, by the way. That's still a fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But I will say this though. I just think honestly, I think Oliver beating up Desaad, and the only thing I hated was the nerdy reporter guy. It's like, hey, you're him. Yeah, and he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, that just to me, I was like, that's so on the nose, When he's
it was a little too cringy and a little too on the nose, but it was really just showing you that, dude, everybody's starting to put 2 and 2 together. They're starting to recognize you. They know that you're the Blur.
I did like the date,
and also you got to change your behavior, and that was the whole point of the origin of Clark Kent Disguise, which I thought they should have done it a little bit sooner. Because you worked at the planet like several years, acting like you're all like the same person.
He should have had glasses before he went to the Daily Planet. Because
exactly
the whole point of Smallville is
even when you didn't work at the Daily Planet, you did so many visits to Chloe at the Daily Planet for several occasions, all the time. Everybody saw your face.
Remember in episode 200, where when he shows up there in the future and he's just like, looks. And then and then all of a sudden they says, oh, and then Lois like, put some glasses on. What are you, crazy? And then some guy walks in and goes, oh, sorry, that's the guy. Like,
it was the woman that was talking to the employees. Like, no, that can't be him. No.
It's like, see, I told you that's not him.
He's like, you seriously could not recognize them, even though you're all over the papers as Superman, posting your face on the front page, but you're not going to recognize me because I got magic glasses on.
Jimmy Kimmel made fun of that in the Batman versus Superman sketch on, where
like, that was funny. Like, yeah, that was gold.
No, not. And he goes, yes, you are. Look, see? And then he takes the glasses off.
You're Batman. I'm with Batman and Superman here.
Whereas the Batman one, I feel like that's more of a stretch. Like he found that out. The Superman one was so easy on the news. The Batman one, I just feel like
I'm surprised you haven't figured that out. It took me like 2 seconds.
yeah, it's like Lex Luthor goes, boys, and like Jesse Eisenberg goes, boys, we have to live together. And then he goes, Batman. He says, that's Superman. He goes, no, it's not. This man is just a well-dressed reporter. And then he took his glasses off and he goes, see, I told you. And he goes,
oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I see how you feel. It took me like 2 seconds to figure that out.
He says it took you a couple of years. He said, I've been trying to kill a journalist. I can't believe I'm trying to kill a journalist.
That was the funniest shit I've ever seen. That was great.
Just like that.
But I will say with James Gunn's Superman, the Clark Kent disguise, that's way more convincing because he looks completely different person and his behavior changed, his looks changed. That was genius.
I mean, but Henry Cavill, which I love Man of Steel. I'm not gonna.
I love that too. I just thought I agreed that the Clark Kent disguise was not that
Superman. He's just wearing glasses. That's the only difference.
Yeah, it was not even believable. I mean, look, for Superman and Lois, at least they try to change his behavior, but he still looks the same. With Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and Lois, he changes behavior, but the difference is that he still looks the same. He just puts the glasses on. When a lot of people seen him face to face many times as Clark Kent and Superman, you look the same. You just have glasses on.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
But it's suspender. It's one of those times. It's suspend your disbelief type of shit.
Yeah. So, Collins, what's your score?
I'm guessing. I like about 4 or 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10, I'd say.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 6. It's
You what?
it's an okay episode because the Desaad storyline made me enjoy it a little bit more. Without that, I don't think it would have been as good. I'll be like, yeah, it was okay. It was.
What do you think I gave it a 5 for, Matt? Because there was literally.
Don't get mad because my score is different than yours.
The dark side stuff. I'm like, that's the only. I don't know what the hell you liked about it more. You're like, you know what? I think this is a 6 out of 10. It wasn't that bad. I really enjoyed this episode, guys.
Wow.
Are you really that butthurt because my score is different than yours?
No, I just thought that was like that's a crazy. Even me and Ryan both like, wow.
It's a 1-up score. Oh boy.
I'm going 3 out of 10, and all 3 is given to the Desaad stuff and the Desaad stuff exclusively. The rest of it was just date night knockoff garbage. So let's.
It's like they watched literally date night this weekend and was like, you know what, we got it. And they watched date night. That was literally like
they watched date night in the pitch meeting room and thought like, okay, let's do this date night thing.
The writers saw date night and were like, you know what, I saw the best movie.
I don't even know if when that movie came out. Was it 2010?
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, it had to be 2010.
Well, call us Black Sabbath making the album Master of Reality, because into the void we go. This is season 10, episode 15, called Fortune.
What is going on?
3 buddies wake up from a bachelor party in Las Vegas with no memory of the previous night and the bachelor missing. They must make their way around the city in order to find their friend in time for his wedding. So, this is from the guy that directed Joker, huh? Interesting flex. Matt, what say you?
Yeah, this is literally the plot of The Hangover.
Exactly. And that's why this episode is terrible. This is exactly the plot of The Hangover.
They even do a slideshow at the end.
Well, it's not well, yeah, it is a slideshow, but it's a video recording. At least it's a video recording and it's not slideshow with still shots.
You spin me right. All of a sudden,
this was supposed to be around the year when The Hangover 2 was about to come out very soon.
Yeah, that's why there's a lemur in it. Because
that's why there's a fucking monkey. Because remember the monkey was in the second one?
Yes, sir. I guarantee you that was a studio note. I guarantee you they're like the.
It was a studio note. It's no coincidence. I even knew that when that episode was on when the CW. I was like, oh god, they're really doing the Hangover episode.
Synopsis for the episode. Did you even bother looking it up, or did you just watch the?
No, I have it. It's a long one though. So here goes.
You two amazing people have been the best friends a girl could ever ask for. To the bride and groom.
Watch this.
Get out! Get to the top of the roof!
Check it out.
Clark, we really did get married.
Smallville. All new episode next Friday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
After Zatanna's back. Yeah.
And there was much rejoicing.
Zatanna roofied them.
Sends a magically spiked bottle of champagne to Clark and Lois for their bachelor/bachelorette parties. The gang blacks out after the toast, only to wake up the next morning and realize they can't remember anything about the night before. Literally, all that's missing from this episode is Bradley Cooper saying, "We fucked up," on the phone. While trying to retrace their steps, Lois realizes she lost her engagement ring and drags Oliver back to the Fortune Casino where she thinks she lost it. The two run into Fortune, the eccentric casino owner, who accuses them of stealing money from him. Meanwhile, Clark tells Chloe he has a memory of stealing an armored truck the night before. So this episode has Emil. This episode has Emil Hammond as an Elvis impersonator. It has Cassie Freeman doing an audition tape for her role in The Righteous Gemstones. It's got Oliver wearing a lime green tuxedo that even Elton John will look at and go, no. And that's just the beginning of the BS of this episode.
You won't even believe what else Oliver ends up in.
Oh, we're going to get to that in just a minute, but this episode is awful.
This is literally like the episode.
Worst of the series, like level bad.
Remember when Tom Welling said that? He said literally on Talkville, he said that if there was an episode where they were going to do a musical episode of Smallville, and he said, I won't do it. He said, if you do an episode, he said a singing episode of Smallville, I'm not going to be in it. You can do it, but I won't show up on work that day. I imagine the whole casino subplot. He was just like, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. No, I'm not doing it. He goes, I will do the waking up part. I will do the hangover stuff with like Bradley Cooper, but I'm not going to go up there and fight somebody in a casino.
And he didn't. He did not fight in the casino.
He's like, I'm not in that scene at all. I'm not doing that. So I was like, what? I'm going, this is the Hangover. This is literally the Hangover.
Yeah, it is. It's literally the rip-off plot from the Hangover episode. Which I'm not gonna lie, it's a guilty pleasure of mine in this episode. I agree with you. It is a terrible episode, but at least they made the episode more fun and hilarious. At least for me.
I'm glad it was fun for you because it was like Jeff passing that kidney stone in season 1 of Hell's Kitchen for me.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, look, to me, I'd rather watch this over the Noir episode.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I totally agree. I'd rather watch this over the Noir. I'd rather watch this over the fucking vampire episode from season 5.
No, that's not.
I'm trying to erase that fucking memory of that episode. It was so awful.
Not that crazy. Okay, I'd rather watch that episode of this. I mean, at least that one was vampires.
Yeah,
and you had Brainiac in that episode, and you had also cool stuff in
vampires. That was a plot that wasn't completely unnecessary. It's like the mean girls who had that Regina George turn into vampire one time.
Let me ask you this, Ryan. Let me ask you this. What did you think all right, so Oliver, what did you think about Emilio being an Elvis impersonator? Did you think that was funny? Like, him like, how do we do? Yeah, how do we do?
How do they do?
No.
I thought that
was hilarious.
I thought it was funny. I'm like,
I'd love to see a different side of Amelia Hamilton that we haven't seen before in the comedic way.
He's literally just like the IT guy in every episode. Clark.
Yeah, he was just an IT guy who was a doctor, and you never expect him to go cut loose like that in this episode.
At least in this one, he's actually like a fun character. He's like, yeah, which to be fair, it's like, yeah, to be fair, the guy that steals Lois's ring is basically the Chow of the episode, basically.
Mr. Chow.
Mr. Chow, Leslie Chow, which he's like, it's my, and then at one point where I'm like, oh, they very much make him more Chow was when he's hitting on Oliver. I'm like, okay, I feel like this is more Chow. I'm like, yes, this is very
because he thought it was a chick, the drag queen. He thought it was a chick. And I thought I was laughing. I was laughing the most. It almost felt like mostly a sorority boys meets The Hangover.
No, it's like two Wong Fu, whatever it's called, like two. What's that one? John Waters movie.
I never see. I don't think I.
And John. John Leguizamo wearing drag queens. That
Oh, I never seen that.
The To Wong Fu with Love. It's a very long title.
Yeah, it feels like it's that movie I'm watching. You know, it feels like I'm watching that. To which, yeah, it's a whole movie.
I thought it was funny. I thought that was funny that one who cheated off of Lois that ring, trying to flirt with Oliver. I laughed.
So for the
It was
audience,
an awkward moment.
The full title is To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Just for the sake of...
Even though
just
that
for the
casino fight was so ridiculous, Saturday morning cartoons moment.
Well, I guess
was
we
so
can put the
dumb.
Band-Aid off now, Ryan. Ryan, why don't you explain what all happens to Oliver and Lois at the casino?
Justin Hartley in drag. This is the most screwed up thing I've seen in a while.
He'll make a lot of women jealous because he's a sexy bitch.
I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm not trying to sound like prejudiced or anything. I promised I'm not. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, this is how far we've fallen, y'all. They were clearly fresh out of ideas to go to this, of all things.
Remember when Miller and Goff would never have done this? They would have said, "No, we're not remaking the Hangover. We're not doing that."
No.
They would have been like, "No," especially when Oliver and Dry like, "No, that you can't. That's we're making fun of the character at that point." No, Oliver Queen is not that. It would never go that far with I mean.
Hey, you never know, but you never know if it means to go in disguise as one of the masquerade drag queen. So be it, dude. I mean, how many times we've seen that in a lot of movies that when protagonists disguise as a woman?
Isn't that literally the plot of that movie? The one we were just.
I never seen that movie. I never seen that one.
That's literally like about drag queens trying to rob like a beauty store or beauty pageant or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's the plot of the movie. Like John Leguizamo and Patrick Swayze are drag queens, and they want to rob this place. And their plan is they're going undercover as drag queens to rob. I'm pretty sure that's the plot of the movie. I'm pretty sure.
Wesley Snipes is in it too.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes is also one of the drag queens. Which I'm like, we gotta do a watch party on that movie one day. We're gonna have to get Nick involved in getting to watch that.
I feel like you guys should do like a live report, an out of character Oliver Queen becomes a drag queen in disguise.
If I told somebody that, if I just showed them this episode of Smallville, they would never watch another episode of Smallville.
No.
They'd be like, this is not Superman though. This is not very Superman. What I remember.
Well, but you're just showing them out of context.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a filler episode. And literally,
it is a filler.
What a filler episode is. Like they literally this week they watched The Hangover and Date Night and said, "That's our blockbuster haul for this week." And I'm like, why would you go comedy this week? Both comedies. I just have one.
Well, they have done a lot of. Well, even before the showrunners took over, Al Goff and Miles Miller, they've done a lot of blockbuster hauls. Most CW shows do that all the time.
They literally did Carrie one episode. The prom.
Yeah, they did. Which episode was that? I can't remember.
I will say the funniest line from that episode is when Clark.
The crown's mine, bitch. Oh, that's the one. That's the senior prom. I would always
stopping me.
That was funny when Tom Welling was trying to impersonate a high school girl. That was great. Never expect. Crown's my bitch.
I just love that line so much. I want to get
bless Justin Hartley for trying to make that work. I don't hate the idea.
I bet the people who watch the show like, oh, Justin, you're so brave. You're such a brave guy.
And just let me just try and illustrate that I'm not like hating on the idea of drag itself. I hate it in the context of this show and what Oliver Queen is in this show. I'm trying to differentiate and not come off like a complete jerk. I hope I'm
watch these people add that clip out of context and post it on social media. I can imagine them doing it.
You don't want to be getting an invite to another show for Friday on Fridays that airs on Friday. Ryan will be getting.
I'll say I'm busy.
I've been getting an invite lately for. All of a sudden he's on Piers Morgan Live and like Piers Morgan. I swear I didn't say. I was like, I'm not again. And they're like, how do you feel that you insulted the drag community? And they're like, it's a show, it's a TV show. It's not like I'm showing. It's not like I'm talking about a news clip from CNN. I was literally talking about a TV show.
Watch it air on CNN and get called out.
swear, Pierce. I swear.
I swear.
What the fuck did I do wrong?
I love the whole video clip at the end.
The whole video clip was my favorite part of that episode.
Lionel Luther's sign. He goes, I stole Lionel's sign.
Yeah, he stole Lionel's sign as a practical joke.
And then they take a truck. They take an armored truck. To which I'm like this.
Well, they stopped the robbery, and then he stole the armored truck and put it in like hidden in the barn. Which I don't know how you were able to fit in that truck in the barn. The door would have been fucking blown open.
This is my question. Okay, this is my question. Armored trucks have GPSs.
They
low
do.
jack.
It's a low jack.
Basically,
You think the cops are not going to go and track that shit in the barn?
Well, they were never going to. Like, they were going to report it stolen, but like, whenever like someone else stole it, then they got their own men to take action. To which, because they said basically, like Emil said in the episode, you literally were going to fakely report it stolen, but then when you someone really actually stole it, that's when you had to take action. Because they were just going to do an insurance scam, but then what happened? Someone actually did steal their stuff, Which I will say, yeah, the fight with Chloe and Oliver at the casino, I thought that was great. Whenever like, how do you do? And then he goes, and then he takes off the wig, and he goes, hey, and he's like, he punches.
Enjoy yours truly.
I was telling, then like Chloe goes, thanks, hot stuff. I thought because of Chloe's reaction when she saw Oliver and she goes, like her face.
I thought it was funny.
like that's Oliver. Which by the
and
way,
it just cuts to the note after it says "Good night, everybody."
Yeah, did you guys watch Boy Meets World growing up?
Yeah, it's my favorite sitcom show of all time.
There's an episode of Boy Meets World where Eric.
Oh yeah, the Sean episode. Oh,
Eric and Jack are trying to they rat out a criminal, and then because they called the cops before he committed the crime, he's like, "I'm gonna kill you both. You're dead." And then they go undercover and drag to the community as girls. And Eric's an ugly woman, and then Jack the guy that falls in love with Jack and goes, "You're hot." And he goes, "Oh, thank you so much."
Oh, thank you so much.
And then when they take a picture, Jack does this. He goes, "Arr." And all of a sudden they take a picture and he goes, "All right, you can open your eyes now to kiss me."
And Eric got the worst. He's like, "I'm ugly." Like, you're ugly.
And it's a pang of ew.
He's like, ew.
Just like,
that was the funniest shit.
That's a great episode of Boys.
I love that episode.
I was like,
well,
but yeah, I will say the only thing I really did, I just like a lot of things. I do think Clark saying Emil was great, and I do think Tess, whenever they're singing together, like Johnny Clark and like and his wife, kind of thing. That I feel like she's basically her character from The Righteous Gemstone at that point, and so
she auditioned for that role. You can tell
the episode
before even the show existed.
Also, how in one night are they able to produce merchandise for Emil?
I know that's the one thing. The two Asian girls, they kind of seem like they're a younger version of Folk Me and Folk You from Austin Powers Gold member.
Now let's not be racist, Matt. Okay, come on.
it's true. It's not a racist shit right there.
We're gonna be now. We're definitely getting invited to Pierce Morgan. Thanks.
I didn't say it. Wasn't me.
It's like this guy. The one.
Wasn't me.
Thanks, Matt. All the slow around Pierce Morgan. The Asian community is upset by this comment. How do you feel, Matt? And Ryan's like, I'm not Matt. That guy down there is Matt, the Connor Ray. But no. Seriously, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're saying is that because it does remind you a lot because
because it reminded me in the scene in Austin Powers 3. It's no coincidence. Because they're the fangirls, they're the groupies.
And they have, ironically, also they have Austin Power merchandise on whenever.
Exactly.
And this one. Also, yeah.
I mean, when we see Emil on stage impersonating Elvis, I thought he was going to play the song, Daddy wasn't there.
Also, how are Tessa normal or not normal when they wake up because they're still performing?
They're still shit-faced. They were still shit-faced as they're performing.
They're like, how do we do? Yeah, he's like, yeah.
How do we do? How do we do?
Tess snaps out of it with coffee, which I'm like, that's not how.
She snaps out of it by drinking a bottle of water with it and drinking it with aspirin milk.
Also, the guy, I put this in there. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the guy that was like flirting with Oliver is the guy basically flirts with all the guy was like,
That was
"Hey."
funny. I don't care. I thought that was
One guy, he goes, "How you
hilarious.
doing, honey?" He's like, "Well,"
He was like, "Thanks, man."
I was like, the bad guy has.
He hears in the man's voice, and you see his reaction, the look on his face, like.
To be fair, I did not know that guy knew that. I thought he thought Oliver. It was
Dude, it would have been funny if they had that clip in the meme in basketball. And he was like, "That's a guy. That's a dude." No, I'm saying that because she's a guy.
I put in my notes.
In basketball, if you watch that clip.
I put in my notes that the bad guy has homosexual tendencies towards Oliver.
I mean, he could. I mean, nothing, no judgment. I mean, it's 2025.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's why I put. Yeah, that's why I just put.
Yeah, see you on a CNN now. Now who's gonna get the fucking shaft?
Here's Morgan. Now all three of us, like Ryan first, Matt. Now
We're all three of us now are gonna get the shaft this time.
One of you is Ryan makes a comment that
Ryan makes the drag queen, and I make the race comment. He makes the homophobic comment.
It's like, oh,
oh fuck,
we're canceled now. Smallville's officially canceled.
It's canceled now.
All of us are canceled now. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good night.
As long as this thing is bad.
We'll be on Geeks and Gamers.
It's the this is like the longest episode we discussed on this rant. All
right, Colin's score.
Yeah. So just this episode's nuts. I just can't get. It's like ridiculous. I just like the idea. Also, it was being canceled on Piers Morgan, and that laughed idea. But
yeah, and the moment you brought up that Piers Morgan joke.
Guys. We'll be on Geeks and Gamers next.
For the love of God, please don't take that shit out of context when he brings up Geeks and Gamers. Watch him just take it out of context. Hey, we're joining Geeks and Gamers.
We are not. We are not.
We are not. Hell to the fucking no, bro.
No. But yeah, it would be funny. I just think, this episode, I really am having a tough time. But it's so funny. I mean, honestly, I think I want to give it a 5, but at the same time, it's so ridiculous. I'm just going to say a 4.5.
Okay, Matt?
I give it a 5 for the entertainment.
You what?
But then I gave it a 2 for the awfulness of this episode.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
To quote Shia LaBeouf from Holes, 0!
Might as well add that clip in.
Yep. That is my score. I do not apologize. We are now moving on. This is season 10, episode 16, called A Brand of Car, otherwise known as Scion.
He doesn't just have Lex's genes. Half his DNA came from you.
There's a shadow inside of all of us.
You were meant to become a god.
I'll open up a world Clark can't even imagine. I know who I am.
Smallville. All new episode next Friday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Lionel and Tess go head-to-head in a battle for the Luthor name. Clark and Lois are stunned by Tess's latest present to them, a.k.a. Connor Kent, a.k.a. the sorta love child thing of...
The Superboy.
It's like
Clark
a half
and...
Clark, half Lex.
I hate this so much. I hate
It's
this
like they
so
put Lex's
much.
sperm and Clark's sperm and then put them together and then made like a baby out of it.
No,
Like, you ever wonder what
I mean,
happened?
minus the sperm part, but it's not far off, and minus the sperm part.
no to all of this forever. No. We have officially
all those season 6 fan fictions that finally came true. Of like what one he said about Klex finally came through. They're like,
It is. It's literally the Klex.
All of the Wattpad stories have come true.
all of the erotic.
I never thought of it that way until you brought that shit up. Now it's literally the definition of Klex.
It's like I seen Pineapple Express. It was like, imagine if this stuff and this stuff.
Had a baby and fucked.
This is like, imagine if Lex and Clark had a fuck and then they had a baby and it's Connor, the dude from High School Musical.
In a horrendous Jack Black hairdo high dye job that Eric Bischoff looks at and go, dude, like just embrace the gray. Like, come on. Oh boy.
Like how George Clooney's hair looks right now.
They're trying to go for the more comic book accurate of Connor Kent having the dark jet black hair.
I will say the guy who plays Connor.
I'm aware of who Connor Kent is. I've seen Young Justice, so I know the context behind this. But this is the most soap opera nonsense that I've ever seen. I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, has this turned into As the Smallville Turns, like Small of Our Lives, like too small?
It might as well be. It kind of is Smallville of Our Lives.
I mean, I really hate this episode.
Wow, you really hate that episode.
I'm sorry. I really hate the Connor Kent stuff. I really.
I do not. I kind of enjoyed that Connor Kent stuff.
Kent, I do not like him as a character. I've never been a Connor Kent fan, just like I'm not a Robin fan.
I like the Connor Kent fan. I'm a Connor Kent fan from Young Justice.
I don't like Robin from Batman and Robin or any of Robin interpretations. I don't like Connor Kent. I don't like Aqualad. I don't like sidekicks in general. I think they're really just mediocre.
I thought they were used well in the Young Justice show. At least they made these psychic derivative characters more interesting and compelling and coming into their own instead of being a copycat.
You know, to me, a sidekick is just like in Sky High. You're a sidekick. Get out of here. I mean, Well, that was kind of like the fascist thing that they've done in that movie, like treating these people who are like not badasses. That means that they're sidekicks. And that was the whole concept idea was like, that was kind of really stupid. Now, because here's the thing, you don't need to be like a total badass to be a hero. And that was the whole point of that message of that movie. Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. Okay. Matt. All right. Now, Ryan, I want to ask you this too. If you're about to fall over a cliff, who would you want to save you? Batman or Robin?
I'd rather be Batman.
Matt?
Dude, that's like choosing between your parents, bro.
That's an easy freaking question. Batman all the way. Why would you want Robin to save you? It's like that joke in like Robin. Oh, guys, I'm here. I can save you, okay? I got no pants on, but I got this little batarang. Come on. It's like, can you go get Batman instead? He's got a Batmobile. What do you have? I got a Robin cycle. Well, actually, it's his cycle. I just ride the sidecar. Just ride the sidecar. I'm like, really? I mean, nobody wants a sidekick. You want the real thing. And like Connor Kent, to me, it's like I do like though when he gets the red K. I thought that's when I liked him. I thought that was really cool when he's like, although he's obsessed with Lois, which is kind of creepy a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Red K had a good idea, but then the obsession with Lois Lane did not like that. I did like the fact that Clark became the mentor. I like the fact that Clark became the father figure to Connor. It was a little bit of a parallel to what Jonathan had done with him when he was learning how to use his abilities. I like that whole part of that episode, giving him more of the mentorship.
I bet Ryan was so pissed whenever he watched this, saying they were doing something really cool with Alexander, then they make him fucking Connor Kent.
And then they give him red kryptonite, which everyone knows that I just love with my whole heart. As soon as I saw the ring, I'm like, no! What happened to the game I love?
It's like having a nice open world game, and then they put microtransactions every 5 minutes in the game.
You're talking about a Madden game.
Oh, for sure. Or it's like making a game like an open world game that's been beloved, where they had like 3 or 4 sequels, and then they decide to do like a team up game with villains, and then they decide to make it a live service game because that's what people really want. Oh, let's just Suicide Squad kill Justin. Basically, yeah. I mean, it's basically that. It's like having an open world great Batman game, and then you make it a Suicide Squad game that's live service and microtransactions out of the ass. Yeah, because that's what really people really want. They like it when you piss on them and without the decency of calling it rain.
Yeah.
It's like, which I will say, I really do think though with this episode, I like the fact that Lionel, like the scene with Lionel and Tess at the beginning, when they're in like the lab that was burned down by the clone legs. I thought that was really great. I thought that was awesome. You know, especially Lionel is like, he says something shitty to Tess so bad. He says, when my doppelganger, basically, when Lionel dropped you off at the orphanage, I would have done the exact same thing.
That was cold. That was cold.
I'm like, what a
Or when he brings Lois into a fucking meat factory about to execute her. That was a little bit of a far for Lionel.
Do you know who his henchman is? Oh, sorry.
Who?
No.
The guy who played Jason in Jason Freddy versus Jason.
The cold line that he ever said to Lois, "I'm not the Lionel you knew," and he was literally gonna kill her and put a bullet in her head until Connor interfered, which I thought that was a cool shot. But I will admit, I like the idea with him giving him Red K, but I feel like the whole plot line kind of felt rushed and forced, and the obsession with Lois was the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Like, that was creepy and weird. It kind of almost ruined the episode.
Yeah, and earlier in the episode, they do the crap with the heat vision where it's like as soon as Connor Kent sees her take a shoe off, he's like, oh, and then like it happens.
He gets
and, like,
horny.
turns
He gets horny with his heat vision.
I'm
just
just
saying, like,
Because that's how it triggers heat vision. You get horny. All you have to do is get horny, trigger your heat vision, and it works.
I put it in my notes. Heat jizz. Heat jizz zone.
No, it's heatgasm.
I'm just like, wow. I was like, it's Smallville. And it's like really trying to take us back to season 2, huh?
Yeah,
I
the writers had to do that. The writers had to create it of how you create heat vision by having a fucking hard on.
Lois printing a book about teenagers is pretty good. And I also like Connor and Lionel's scene where he's like trying to like, I forgot. Apparently they must have did this off screen, and it really pees me off because I'm sitting there watching this and it's like, oh, he forgot about, I'm Connor Kent now. He just forgot his memory's just gone.
No, his memory has been erased after his big reboot when he started to manifest his abilities, because half his DNA came from Clark. So I thought that would make a little bit more sense.
But Ryan thought he was going to grow up to be Michael Rosenbaum.
Because you saw in the other episode with Alexander, he's losing his memories, he looks sweaty, and you see Tess injecting him with a needle, and the needle broke. He's manifesting, and he's rebooting, basically.
I hated that too. I hate that more. I like that he was growing up to be Lex. That would have been. I was telling Dave. I was texting with Dave, and I said, I hated the Connor thing. I wish he would just grow up to be Mike Lex. Wouldn't that have been great? And even Dave said, yeah, I think that would have been much better, because it says it feels like that's what they were building towards, and then they decided to go with, and then like they're going to that direction. Then they decided, well, I understand why. You know why, Matt. I understand why. But the reason
we'll get there. Well, why? We'll get there.
I guarantee you, if what me and you know,
we'll talk. I don't want, because I want to talk about that when we get to the end, and I can give this whole explanation of my theory of what actually happened.
Because they probably were going down that route, but then what happened?
Yeah. It was a mislead. I do admit it was a little bit misleading, but I didn't really mind the whole thing. I didn't mind that.
I just think, honestly, to be fair, I do like the meat thing. I do like Tess exposing Lionel as a fraud and Connor on Red K, even though Ryan doesn't.
Yeah, all you had to do is give him the DNA, and it's in reverse, and you're fake. Oh, you're Audi. You're Audi 5000.
So which I'm like, Lionel is like, all Lionel's got to do. If I'm Lionel, I'm like, okay, go ahead and do that. Guess what? Because in an hour, I can get all my team to reverse that, and then make you look like a fool. And it'll make it look like you have the false.
But also the fake and the old death would not fly.
But then also the liquor, she said, but then in case he does try to do something like that, she says she poisoned his drink and saying, I poisoned your drink. So even if you do try to do something.
She tampered the drink. She put a low jack in that drink, and then now it's the whole nanotech thing in his system so that she can track every move that he'll make.
Which, if I'm Lionel, I would have still made a move. Lois, yeah. So basically, and also like Tess, I like that Tess was pleading with Clark to get rid of Lionel, and Lionel getting his men to torture a doctor to find out where Connor is. I thought that was pretty great. Stuff that did not age well. There is a P. Diddy reference in this episode.
Oh yeah, there.
Bring that up. I was like,
if only the writers knew back then. If only the writers knew back in about that whole shit.
Probably did. That's probably
we don't know that. We don't know.
Mike Myers is being called into court to testify against as a witness because he made in Austin Powers 3, he made a Diddy joke. So now they called it for Mike Myers to testify at the Diddy trial, which I'm just like, over a 2003 movie joke that he made in a movie. I'm like,
that was so long ago.
It's like imagine Mike Myers shows up over a Zoom and he's like, we made like him and his attorney. He's like, I just made a joke. You know, like why did you make the joke, Mr. Myers? Why did you make the joke?
I thought you were saying Mr. Powers. Why'd you make the joke, Mr. Powers? Mr. Powers.
Yeah, baby. Listen here. He was.
Listen here.
Like no. I just imagine that, like I'm like, oh my god! I mean, you made a joke.
You can't hold against him the joke that he made a long time ago for something that he knew no knowledge of. Whoever that person becomes, we can't predict the future.
Matt, have you ever been on Twitter? Of course, you can hold people to jokes that they made in 2000.
I know because the people on the internet are really that dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think what it is, they're trying to see like, why'd you make that joke?
They're trying to give him a reason to get canceled. That's the whole fucking point. They're trying to get him canceled.
What they're trying to do, I think, is they're trying to figure out. Well, you made that joke in 2003, so you must have known Diddy was like was a weirdo back then. So obviously, and they want him to like basically say yes, Diddy was a weirdo. That's why I made the joke. Which all Mike Myers did, like, look, we made the joke because I heard it, we thought it'd be funny. We didn't know.
That's comedy.
Like,
we make fun of people.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see when Mike Myers testifies. I hope it's. I don't think New York. I don't think they'll show the clips.
No, they probably won't. They'll do it off camera. This is not going to be a Johnny Depp Amber Turd trial thing.
I think it's. What were you gonna say, Ryan?
I was just going to say, if they did do a stream, we should do a watch along of it.
Oh boy! Oh my god! If we actually do the live stream,
I don't think because in New York they are not allowed. Cameras are not allowed in the courtroom.
Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
Fair enough.
If it was like if it was in like Georgia, like or something, then like because like for instance, whenever they did the Trump trial, whatever, they had like the audio because they only had pictures and they had audio because they say you're allowed to play the audio, but you cannot show the cameras not allowed, so they would just draw. That's why they have the pictures drawn.
They play through the audio and then they just do a pictures during the trial. They sketch it out.
Wouldn't it be cheaper? Wouldn't it be cheaper just to show a record than would you hire somebody to draw pictures of people? Like I'm like you, like look, we could save a couple grand if like we're hiring a guy to sit there and do this. He picks his nose. Shit, now I gotta do another picture. He's picking his nose. Shit, now he's eating the boogers.
Or they could just do it digital now. Everything's digital that you can draw.
They just put the laptop there with AI, and the AI is just doing everything.
They'll just do a generated AI thing.
But no, I will say I did not like also shouldn't Lionel fire Tess since he controls Luthor Corp, and like shouldn't like that happen? Shouldn't Lionel? He owns the Daily Planet. So why Tess was staying? She's living in the Daily.
Wait,
Planet
I thought he
now.
didn't. I thought the Luthor Corp did not own the Daily Planet anymore.
Then how is Tess working there? Because Tess.
That's a good question. That's another plot hole.
And then on top of it, wouldn't Lionel fire Tess?
Guess he just doesn't have the heart to fire his own daughter.
Or maybe they don't. Maybe Tess just pleaded and got her job there. Maybe Tess fired. I don't know. That's weird. Maybe Tess is on the board at Luthor Corp.
Maybe.
I don't know, but yeah, she was staying in there because remember when they were her and Emil Hamilton?
Because she's the head of the board of Luthor Corp.
She had all her stuff She had all of her stuff was at the all of her stuff was at the office, the Daily Planet office, which I'm like, she's living there now. I'm like, wow.
Well, technically, she's living in the Watchtower.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of her stuff was there, so I'm like, I assume she's living there.
Maybe.
Which now she's like, because Lionel kicked her basically to the curb and said, "Go."
I did like that line when he gives the test. Like, you think you're trying to impress Clark Kent, but deep down you always be a Luthor. You can try to redeem yourself. And I did like that, his remarks to her.
You didn't like none of Lionel's stuff in this episode, Matt? I mean, I was going to say Kyle.
I thought you said Kyle. Like, what?
I was trying to say Ryan, but I kept on for some reason I kept on saying Kyle.
No, the Lionel stuff was good, of course, but John Glover can only do so much.
Yeah, because that's how great of an actor John Glover is. He sells some of the ridiculous script and tries to make it work.
Listen here, he could be like talking about farting. He'd be like, listen
here,
farting. And listen, I just farted, and
it seems like you're trying to do the Trump thing. Like, hey, listen here, guys, I'm trying to do the fart. Lionel's a good guy.
Listen, okay, nobody farts like me, okay?
Nobody farts like me, okay? Nobody farts like me.
It smells like roses, okay? No one else does it. Everyone knows it. Everyone.
It smells like oranges.
Okay.
It smells like a rose.
But yeah, I thought I didn't really like Connor losing his memory. I do like whenever he threw Lionel threw the kryptonite down and then drug his son, and then the son laser beam, then the Connor laser beam like the kryptonite. And
he gets the confidence that he gets an accurate shot from kryptonite from his heat vision, which he's been messing up many times.
But yeah.
Well, let's go to scores.
6 out of 10.
6?
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same. 6. It's probably the same score from the Masquerade episode.
Watch, he's gonna give it a 3. Watch, he's gonna give it a 3.
No, he's gonna give it a fucking 0. He's giving it a 0.
No. You're close. I'm gonna give it a 1. 1 only for John Glover and literally nothing else.
Wow, you're a selfish little asshole, aren't you, Ryan?
Like, Fortune and Scion are the 2 worst episodes of this series, other than the season 8 finale, and it's not even.
But I will say, here's the thing: I will give my negatives of this season since we're already towards the end. Yeah, they have kind of had random ideas that they had too much overstuffed that are not the best, and it's kind of and it had some moments. But I will say it's not the strongest season that they've done. There are some great episodes, but there are some filler, pointless episodes, storyline that. Like, what are we doing?
It's the worst season of this show.
Smallville is a much better show than y'all deserve. Y'all deserve Smallville. Smallville's so great. No, I'm not that. I know a mutual friend of ours was angry that I was criticizing season 10 because I'm like, it's a perfect show. And I'm like, what fucking universe is it a perfect show? I'm like, the first 7 seasons are pretty damn perfect, but there are even problems in season 6 and in season 4. I was like, season 8, 9, and 10 are literally where it's like literally eating a gourmet meal, and then season 8, 9, and 10 are basically like drinking beer and pizza.
Like you said before we started.
I think it's just because when they watch the show, they binge it and they never had to wait week to week. And that's why it's a perfect show beginning to end. No, it's not. It's not perfect. I love the show. It's my top 3 favorite shows of all time. Yeah. And even I can acknowledge it is not perfect. It had some problems.
I will say it doesn't make it more exciting that it's a jump. 8 is a jumping off point to where you start bracing really the Superman. Like you start going into he's a.
That's one of my favorite parts in the later season, that it's starting to now embrace the Superman mythos. Yeah, 9 was definitely the better season out of the 3 after the Alfgots and Miles Miller departure of the show.
I think if they had a season 11, I think honestly, if they would have did season 11, I think they probably a lot of these ideas they probably would have done later. But I feel like because it's the final season, they feel like they try to throw all their ideas at once and see what
they had to throw their ideas at once, and also taking a trip back to memory lane and giving us a familiar face characters that we haven't seen in a while, because since it's the final chapter of this whole series.
Because you know what, the ratings were starting to drop. Season 9, by season 8, the ratings were dropping, and then season 9, the ratings were so low that they said, look, we can do another season, but I'm gonna tear it now. There's not going to be a season 11, so you might as well.
Yeah, they knew they had to wrap this up because they went on a little too long than it did.
To which I'm like, can you imagine if they would have did season 11? Do you think they would have do you think they would have got to 15 seasons if they would have just let them kept going? Or do you think they would have tapped out to 13's good?
I think they would have tapped out because it would have ran out of ideas. Like you can't do this for very long for Clark to wait for him to become Superman. You have to get him to become Superman. He's at that age at this point.
Get off the pot.
Hey, shitter, get off the pot. You can't do it because then what was the point of it?
Judging by their stories, I do think that season they would have done at least 2 more seasons, like 10 and 11, and then that would have probably been it. 11 would have probably been the final season.
I mean, in my opinion, I think that 8 should have got one more season for 8 if Al Goth, Miles Miller, and Michael Rosenbaum were on one more season and wrapped the show up. And if they did an idea, if with the orb opening with Lex in the fortress, it unleashes Zod and the Kandorians. And they had the storyline with Lex and Zod working together against Clark, and Clark embraces his own destiny to become Superman in the final season. And that's where you kind of, and then when we get into the finale, he faces off with Lex one last time, his ultimate opponent. as Superman, and that would have ended it perfectly.
Probably,
I think that because when season 7, it looked like they were getting towards the end of the journey when you see season 7.
I will say, I think, but the thing is that with season 8, 9, and 10, the new show is like, we want to make Superman the show, rather than like making.
Well, they couldn't really do it. They couldn't make Superman the show. They had to try to find a loophole to sort of him become Superman, but not really become Superman.
I think so it ended in 2011, like fall of 2000.
Yeah, it ended in the spring. It ended in the spring of 2011.
2011, yeah.
May 2011. And so basically, so if they would have did a season, if they would have let them go past season 10 and season 11, and so they would have went from fall of 2011 to May of 2012. So can you imagine if they would have?
But I think it's because that since then that Warner Brothers is already making a Man of Steel movie at the time when the show was about to end, they knew they had to wrap that show up because Superman was going to get brought back to the big screen again. They were already going into production in 2011 for Man of Steel because they showed the still shot of Henry Cavill back in 2011.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they would have went past two more seasons of Smallville? Like season 11.
It kind of would have been a drag. I mean, I still would have kept on watching the show, but then it would have been dragging on for too long. Like, okay, can we have him be Superman now at this point?
I mean, who would have they would have done by season 11? Like
they would have ran out of more ideas, and you would have gotten us more mediocre episodes.
They would have been like, okay, we're doing Task Force X for season 10, and then season 11 is Darkseid. Then season 12 we're doing. We're just gonna start throwing shit at the wall and just like,
because one of my problems with the show, like, okay, it reminded me with Supernatural. I love Supernatural, one of my all-time favorite shows. It's in my top 5. I love the show. The problem is that I feel like the show went on a little too long than it did. It went on for 15 seasons. And then season 1 through 5 were Eric Kripke were the showrunners. They, like, when you get to the end of the season 5, it looked like they wrapped up the show. It felt like it was the end of the journey with Sam and Dean. Without spoiling anything, because I know you haven't watched the rest of it, they looked like they were ready to leave the show until they were given their pitch idea that the network wanted to keep the show going. They originally, season 5 was supposed to be their last one. And I kept on watching the show for 15 seasons because I love the 2 cast members of Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki. They're the reasons why I kept the show watching, even though that they kind of recycled some of the plots that we've seen countless times before, but they're the reason why I kept on watching the show.
I'm just imagine now. I think I know. Could you imagine though if like by May of 2013, that's when the season wrapped up? Like, what if they say, "Hey, we're going to wrap this"?
Well, that would have been around the time when Man of Steel was about to come out in the cinema.
Could you imagine if Smallville wrapped up May of 2013?
Oh, here's the thing. Here's the ironic part. Superman and Lois wrapped up the show a couple of months ago, and we're already in the year when James Gunn's Superman movie is about to come out in the summer. Mm-hmm. Because they wrapped the show Superman and Lois, and I thought that show wrapped up perfectly than it did. I'm glad that show did not drag.
Yeah. Well, I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these episodes? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And despite my anger, it is a privilege to do this show with these guys every week.
What's next week's episodes? What are the 3 for next week?
I am glad you asked, because it is Kent, Booster, and Dominion. And then we have Prophecy, and then the grand finale.
Wait, I'm excited to get into Dominion.
We have Prophecy.
You know what I'm talking about.
Prophecy. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do 2 and 2 for the next 2 weeks? Because
we can do that.
So we'll have Kent
and Booster, Kent and Booster, and then the next week we do Dominion and Prophecy,
and then we'll do the 2-hour finale, which we could do is we could review first. Like, is it like a 2-parter? Is it?
No, it's a 1 hour and 24 minutes. It's basically an hour and a half.
So we'll do a watch party for that. The finale. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely, we should definitely do the watch party. I want to see how he feels, how that show wrapped up in a context when we watch along in that episode.
I was just saying, so that way give us more time to talk about it. So that way, I said we'll do 2 a week. Like we'll do 2. The next 2 next week will be Kent and Booster, and then the next week will be what's it called, Dominion and
Dominion and Prophecy.
That'll be it, and then we'll be on the watch party for the finale, and then it's over. Which that's crazy. We got two small talks left. 2.
This is officially the last 3 episode small talk. That's just crazy.
Yeah, and we've been doing this for almost 2 years. It's almost the 2-year anniversary for small talk. I mean, imagine if we did one episode per week. Our podcast would have been a lot longer than 2 years.
We'd probably be on season 7.
Which is here's the ironic part. We're wrapping up with Small Talk. We're getting the end of we're close to a couple of months with James Gunn's Superman movie.
We're literally like, I can't believe we're done with this. Like, we're almost done, and it's crazy.
I know, that's where we all started that. That's when you and I met because of Small Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really trying to do that De Niro look? Well, it was good to meet Matt. I love Small Talk.
He's a good guy. He's a nice guy and all.
Yeah, he's a nice guy and all.
You think I'm funny, huh?
You ain't funny though? Huh? You talking to me?
Like I'm a clown, like I amuse you.
That's Joe Pesci.
That was Joe Pesci from Goodfellas.
The Americans say that talking to me is actually Taxi Driver. You talking to me?
Yeah.
Huh?
Talking to me?
But
You talking to me?
But next week we will cover Booster and Kenton Booster. Excuse me, Kenton Booster next week.
Kenton Booster. You know, it's not about booster seats, okay?
No. Collins, where can the people find you?
They can find me. They can find me. They can find me on. Well, apparently after all this episode airs, they're gonna find me on Pierce Morgan Live trying to, trying to do that. Don't worry, these guys will be with me.
They'll probably find all of us.
We'll be on the panel for Friday.
Oh, I'm hoping to work in a museum or an archive where I don't have to speak to too many people. So.
Oh, well, that's gone now, Brian. You can kiss that goodbye. No one's gonna hire. No museum's gonna hire you after that episode goes live.
Oh my god!
It's like you're gonna just. I went from working at a museum to working at McDonald's. Now, what do you want? Hurry up and order so I can.
I've already put the fries in the bag, sir.
But no. I got 3dmoviecinema.com. My review by the time I said my Final Edition 3 review was dropped. Next week we're gonna do Final Edition 2. We might even do 3 next week. I'm gonna try to rush these guys in to do watch parties, so I'm gonna try to rush them. But I'm gonna try to get 2 out of them next week. True, 2. Might try to get 1 out of the weekday and then 1 on Friday, if I can squeeze them. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do 3 and 4, 2 and 3, and then I'm gonna try next week. We'll do 4 or 5, and then I'm gonna try to. Small Talk every Wednesday, Tuesday, and Kitchen Talk Thursdays, and my Road to Finals Nation on 3. I just want to say thanks so much for having us, and you can catch me on Geeks and Gamers now, apparently.
Matt Wyatt, what about you?
Yeah, and you can find my YouTube channel at Matt Wyatt 92. I dropped a few trailer reaction videos of GTA 6, Squid Game Season 3, and How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version. And I dropped a few reviews with the Season 2, the 4th episode of The Last of Us, and Thunderbolts, check that out, and The Accountant 2.
Yep, all their links will be in the description. As far as this channel goes, the road to Mission Impossible Final Reckoning continues. By the time this goes live, Mission Impossible reviews 2 and 3 will have dropped. Or 2 will have dropped, 3 will be on the way. And then following that, I'll be covering Ghost Protocol with Austin Pez Howell. And got a lot of content to look forward to from there. So thank you all so much for watching. For Anonymous Profile Picture from Matt Wyatt, my name is Ryan Campbell. Truth or Justice for the American Way. Always hold on to Smallville. And
Sharpton for president, y'all. I'm outie.
Sharpton for president, y'all.